think you'll feel the work that we do today with the Psoas, hopefully tomorrow or even after class. Um, and I hope that you feel that balance of like you worked it, but you also stretched it. And it's such an important muscle to stretch and lengthen when you're sitting at a desk all day. So with that, let's start either on our shins or cross-legged, and whatever feels best to you in this moment is just fine. Rest your hands down, close your eyes, and turn inside to your breath. Notice the quality of your breath. See if you can find more length in your or with your inhales and exhales. So a good cadence that you might come into is inhaling for a count of 4 and then exhaling for a count of 4. Relax the space between your eyebrows, relax your jaw. And think about an intention for your practice today. And it can just be one word, something uplifting, something that you want to take off your mat today when you leave your practice. And if nothing comes to mind, don't force it. Just being open to having an intention will give the opportunity for one to come through. Fold your hands together in front of your heart. Inhale, breath. Exhale, breath. Good. Open your eyes. Come to tabletop. So move through your rounds of cat-cow. And if you like, add some spontaneity here. So maybe you want to take some hip circles or come up to down dog or child's pose. So take a few just rounds of breath wherever you're at. And let your breath lead your movement. Good. One more inhale wherever you're at. And exhale, come back to your neutral spine. If your toes aren't tucked, tuck them and come to downward facing dog. Lift your hips. And you'll want a couple blocks today for your practice, or at least one. I always have a blanket handy for my knees, so feel free to do that as well. So pedal your feet. Start to lengthen the backs of your legs. Good, now find stillness. Little bend in the knees, tailbone lifts up, and then soften your heels back toward your mat. Lift your right leg on your inhale and turn your lifted kneecap down toward your mat. Soften your left heel toward your mat and then lift your right leg higher. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. So shoulders shift over wrist. Hip flexor is working here. Right leg comes up. And then right knee, right elbow. Inhale, right leg, down dog split, lengthen up. And then right knee, left elbow. Claw your mat with your finger pads. Right leg lifts high.
And then the right foot comes down. Other side, and then we'll take a break for the wrists. Left leg lifts up. Right heel softens down. Left leg lifts a little bit higher and breathe. Inhale, breath. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders stack over wrists. Inhale, left leg shoots up. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, left knee over to right elbow. Good, and then lengthen high. Left foot comes down. Inhale, lift heels. Exhale, bend knees, step or lightly hop to the top of your mat. Forward fold, Uttanasana. And if you want to give your wrists a little massage, step on your hands, heels or fingers face the same way as your heels, and you can massage your wrists with your toes. Soft neck, heavy head. Release the feet, release the hands from underneath the feet. Walk your hands forward and extend through your crown. And then forward fold. Root down into your feet to rise. Inhale, reach up, touch the sky. Hands come together. Exhale, thumbs in front of your heart space. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, hinge at hips, fold. So we're going to move with breath here for the first couple of minutes, and then we'll start to really deepen into our practice. Step your right foot back. Back knee stays lifted. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bring your hands down. Step forward, forward fold. Inhale, breath. Exhale, step your left foot back. Back knee stays lifted. Hug legs strong to the midline. Reach arms up, fingertips up. And then exhale, hands come down. Step forward, forward fold. Inhale. Exhale, right foot steps back. Back knee down this time. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, hands come down to your mat. Lift back knee, back thigh. Step forward, forward fold. Inhale, breath. Exhale, left foot steps back. Back knee comes down. Reach the arms up. Big breath in. Exhale, hands come down. Lift back knee, back thigh. Step forward, forward fold. Beautiful. Root down into your feet to rise up. Inhale, touch the sky. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale, lengthen up through your side body. Anchor the tops of your thighs back. Exhale, sway to the right, hips go to the left. Come through center on the inhale, switch the grip. And then exhale, sway left, hips go right. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, hinge at hips, fold. Step your right foot back. Crescent lunge, reach arms up. Good. So now we'll hold a little bit longer. 5 rounds of breath here. Deep bend in your front knee. Front knee lines up over ankle. And then press your femur bone up into your hammies. You should feel a deeper stretch and kind of the front of your right hip, your psoas, light up. Soften your shoulders down, take your gaze forward or up. 2 more rounds of breath.
grab your right wrist. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sway left. So just like we did from the top of our mat, keep pressing your femur bone up to the sky and bending into your front knee. Reach to the left. And then come back up, bend your back knee deeply, grab the right wrist again, sway to the left. And then come back through center, straighten your back leg, take your arms down by your sides, step forward, one step or many steps to the top of your mat. Good. Inhale, breath. Exhale, breath. Notice the difference between the sides, specifically the front of the hips. Left foot steps back. Crescent lunge, reach arms up. Soften front ribs down. Soften shoulders, gaze forward or up. 5 rounds of breath. Outer right hip peels back. Front knee bends. Back thigh lifts. Take your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, sway right. Bend deeply into your front knee, lengthening the front of your left hip. Come back through center. Bend your back knee deeply. Grab your left wrist. Sway right. Squeeze legs to the midline. Mine are shaken. It's all good. Good. Come up. This time, take your hands down. Step to downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank. Shoulders stack over wrists. Press down into the big toe mound of your left foot and the ball of your left foot. Lift your right leg. Psoas strengthening. Good. Right foot comes down, left leg lifts. So the strength of your right leg, right psoas, is lifting your left leg. And then left foot comes down, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Take your gaze forward. Little steps or lightly hop. Forward fold. Let that go. Inhale. Exhale. Root down to rise up. Reach up to the beautiful sun, the sky. And then palms in front of the heart. Arms at the sides. Come back to your intention. And come back to your breath. Take the weight into the left leg. Hug muscle to bone. Start with your hands at your hips. Bend your right knee and try to kick your booty with your heel. Now, just for the sake of the psoas, grab the ankle instead of the foot. And then reach your left arm up. Inhale, square hips forward, kick into your hand, and keep your left arm by your ear. Outer left hip hugs back. Kick into the back hand as your hand pulls to the foot. Light up the hip flexor on the right side. And then come back up. And release, other side. Hug muscle to bone, right leg. Hands start at hips. Bend left knee, flex the foot, grab a hold of the ankle. Right arm reaches up, reach through the fingertips. Square hips forward, soften right shoulder down. And then kick into hand as hand pulls on the foot. And breathe. Keep kicking into the hand as the hand pulls to the foot. And then come on back up. Gorgeous. Let it go. Shake it out if you need to. Root down into your feet. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, hinge at hips, fold. Step your left foot back. Back heel comes down. Heel to heel alignment or heel to arch alignment. Walk both hands inside the front foot and bend the knee deeply. Take the booty back. Chest reaches forward. Walk your fingertips out as much as you can. They're off your mat. 2 more rounds of breath. It's like a down dog lunge. Relax your jaw. Walk your hands toward your front foot. Take your right hand outside your right foot. Left hand, left hip. Straighten your front knee. Trikonasana. So you can even take your left hand underneath your right ribs and then help rotate up toward the sky. Now with your front foot, press down into the big toe mound and try to lift your pinky toe and the one next to it. That'll allow your shins to hug into the midline. You're protecting your knee here, but you're also externally rotating the front leg. Left arm reaches up, gazes up or down. Enjoy the stretch, the hammies, the hamstrings. Keep the legs straight as you come on up. Warrior 2 arms. Left arm comes to the low back and maybe even reaches for the top of the right hip. Take your right hand and interlace your fingers and then wedge your right elbow back behind you. Notice how you open up the shoulders here. Scapula stays firm on your back. Now release your right hand, keep your left hand down and head for half moon. So the back foot steps up a little bit. You're trying to keep the bind as you go into your half moon. Maybe you want a block to come underneath the right fingertips. Left leg lifts up. And then to really help you in this pose, help you really expand out in all directions, isolate the right sits bone toward the tailbone and stay right there. And then lift your left leg higher and kick it forward about 6 inches. Flex your lifted foot, toes toward your nose, and breathe. See if you can lift your left leg higher by drawing your right sits bone toward your lifted heel. Gazes down, or if you want to take it up, go for it. Challenge your balance. Bend your standing leg, your standing knee, step back, and then come to warrior 2. Straighten your front leg, should be burning. Turn the toes toward the long edge of your mat. Interlace your fingers behind your low back. Draw the knuckles down and back behind you. Lead with your heart, hinge at your hips, fold. You can have a little bend in your elbows here. That's going to keep the scapula, your shoulder blades, contracting. Shift some weight into the outer edges of your foot. Grip the mat with your toes so your inner arches lift up. Take your hands down to your mat. Walk them to the back of your mat and turn your left foot to 12 o'clock facing the back of the mat.
The right foot now stays. Deep bend in your front knee. Walk your hands toward the right side of your mat, but off of your mat at a diagonal. Down dog lunge. Booty goes back. Arms strong and straight. You're on your finger pads. And then finally, try to crinkle up your mat between your feet. And keep your inner thighs engaged. Soft neck, heavy head. Walk your hands toward your front foot. Left hand outside left foot. Right hand to right hip, or grab your rib cage and then kind of roll it under like a barrel. Right arm reaches up, straighten front knee, Trikonasana on the other side. Turn the left foot to the left a little bit. Keep the outer rotation in the left leg. And then try to lift your pinky toe and the one next to it. And roll your left sits bone underneath your left hip. Fingers nice and wide. Keep the legs straight. Come on up. Warrior two arms. Okay, so feet stay the same. Right arm comes back behind your low back. Left hand interlaces with the right. And then peel the left elbow back behind you. The scapula is firm on your back. Now release the left arm. Take your gaze forward. You're heading for your half moon. So grab your block if you want it. Left hand comes down to a block or your mat. Right arm stays hooked behind your low back and maybe grabs onto the hip. So first we start with rooting down through all four corners of your left foot. And then left sits bone carves toward your tailbone. Isolate that right there. Lift your lifted leg higher. Flex the foot and kick it forward about 6 inches. Take your gaze down or up. Good. Bend your standing knee. Step way back. Release the arms. And then the foot turns to the long edge of your mat. Hands to hips. Hinge at your hips. Lead with your heart and fold. Bring your hands down to your mat. Option here is to walk the hands through your legs, bend your elbows, and draw down through the crown of your head. Or you could grab onto calves or ankles, bend elbows. Scapula still is going up toward your waistline. Lift up through your tailbone and relax your face. Walk your hands forward. Heel toe your feet to hips width distance apart and take a forward fold. Walk your hands up the front side of your body. Come to standing, super slow. Gorgeous. Step to the top of your mat. Okay, so we're going to do dancers again, this time the more traditional way, or baby dancer. So shift the weight to the left leg, bend your right knee, kick your booty, and grab a hold of the inside of your right foot, thumb in line with the big toe. Left arm reaches up, torso goes ahead of the hips. Keep your left arm by your left ear, kick into the hand, hand draws to the foot, squaring hips forward.
Good, and then slowly come out and switch sides. Right leg is strong, left knee bends. Grab the inside of your left foot, right arm reaches up. Square hips forward. Kick into your hand, hand draws to foot, reach forward. Breathe. You can grip the mat with your toes. Good, and then come on back up and let that go. All right, so instead of those static poses, we'll flow a little bit, just like we did in the beginning of practice. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up, touch the sky. Exhale, hinge at hips, fold. Press the tops of your thighs back. Step your right foot back. Crescent lunge. Inhale, reach up. One breath. Exhale, hands come down. Step forward, top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps back. Arms reach high. Hands come back down. Forward fold. Inhale, breath. Exhale, right foot steps back. Back knee comes down. This should be familiar, just like we started. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down. Lift back knee, back thigh. Step forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, breath. Exhale, breath. Left foot steps back. Back knee comes down. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, hands come down. Lift back knee, back thigh. Downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath. Inhale, shift forward to plank. You can always have your left knee come down, but press down into the ball of your left foot. Carve your tailbone toward your heels. That's going to light up your abdominals. Lift your right leg. Take your gaze down. Psoas strengthening. Right foot comes down. Left leg lifts. Breathe. Left foot comes down. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift heels. Exhale, bend knees. Look forward, step or hop to a seat. So we're going to do a little core work, and then we're going to come back up to standing, so don't get too excited. Okay, so take your hands by your hips. Lift your hips and take your sits bones back. Good, and then torso comes back. So typically, if you've been practicing with me, I think I've been at Yoga Bliss for a good 3 years. I've always taught with wanting to keep the low back, the lumbar spine arch so that the spine stays tall. But we're going to do something different, which should feel more supported in your core and possibly get you deeper into your boat pose. So start with your feet down, knees bent. And then come to the back of your sits bones. Now, instead of pubic bone down to bring the arch into the low back, I want you to take the pubic bone up. So you're actually letting the low back round, and you should feel your abdominals muscles turn on, because this pose is about core work. And we don't want to hold the pose all in the quads or the low back. So you've got this rounding, shifting back. Maybe because your core is working so much, your shins just start to lift and your knees are bent and you soften your shoulders. And then you slide the sides of your throat back so your neck is supported. And then maybe you straighten your legs. This feels so much better to me than trying to keep the arch in my low back, because the hip flexors are turned on, the abdominals are turned on, the inner thighs spin in and down. If you want to come out, you come out and then you come right back into it. And remember all your variations. You could be here, you could be here, you could be here. A few more rounds of breath. Beautiful. Bring the feet down, knees wide. Just rest your arms on your shins and take your gaze down. Okay, so we're going to come back up to standing and see how strong our hip flexors are. And I know you're super excited about this, but let's go for it. So you might want a strap, but we're going to try it without the strap, and we're going to do this a couple times on each side. So you'll have some opportunity. So I'll show you it first. Maybe I'll show you first with the strap. So if you have a strap, which I didn't list or mention, grab it. If you don't, it's okay, or if you have a towel handy or a blanket, or just act like you have the strap. So hug muscle to bone on the left side, and then take the strap around the bottom of your right foot. You can loop the strap around your hands and extend your right leg. And then straighten your left leg. Spine is tall, pubic bone down. Keep your legs straight and breathe. Now, let's see how strong the hip flexor is on the right. So you're gonna unwrap the strap and drop it and see if your right leg stays up or how far it drops. Okay, so I've got a little work to do, but not too bad. And then take the right foot down. Let's try the other side. Grab your strap, take it around the bottom of your left foot. You can loop it around the hands if you like, and then kick your left leg forward. Peel the fourth and fifth toe back toward your face as you press through the big toe mound. Lift your left leg, right leg is strong and straight, and you're breathing. And then, when you're ready to test yourself, let go of the strap, try to keep the left leg up and breathe. And then let that go. So we're gonna do it one more time on each side. You're gonna do it with the strap just like we did, or you're gonna add on and come on another ride with me. Okay, so left leg strong and straight. Hands at hips, pubic bone presses back, broaden the back of your pelvis. You might take a little bend in your left knee, draw your right knee toward your face, peace fingers around your big toe. Lift your right knee up, gaze is still down, left leg straightens. From here, keep the torso in front of the hips and straighten your right leg. So I know that I'm super rounded. I'm going to keep my gaze forward. If you need to, keep the bend in the knee of your lifted leg. But if you can straighten it, straighten it. Straighten your left leg. Draw your right sits bone toward your tailbone and then lift your spine. Take your right elbow, bend it a little bit. And like I said, if the right knee needs to bend, it bends. Left arm reaches up. Strong straight leg on your left side. Right leg tries to straighten. And then same thing, release the toes. Try to keep your right leg up, maybe arms reach up, inhale. And exhale, release. Gorgeous. Okay, one more on the other side. Hug muscle to bone, right leg. Lift left knee. Torso goes forward of the hip. Pubic bone presses back between the legs. Broaden the back of your pelvis. Left arm reaches inside, left shin. Peace fingers around the big toe.
Bend the right knee a little bit if needed, and then kick the left leg forward. From here, straighten your right leg and carve your left sits bone to the tailbone. Now take the spine tall. Maybe you bend the left elbow a little bit. Maybe you bend the left knee. Keep your right leg nice and strong. And then play with finding more space in the back of the leg. And then extend the leg as much as you can. Let go of it. Lift the left leg. Reach the arms up and breathe. And let it go. Excellent work. All right, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, hinge at hips, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Exhale, plant the hands, step back plank, and come all the way down to your belly. So we'll do a little back bend work, which also ties into the psoas. So for this one, you can take all the props aside, and it's a half bow, half locust. So bend your right knee, keep your left leg extended and long, and then walk your left arm forward. I'm on the finger pads of my left hand, and I'm tenting the hand so the palm lifts. I'm going to grab my right foot with my right hand, and then lift the right shoulder toward your right ear, and lift the head of the arm bone up to the sky to take the scapula down your back. Kick into your hand, hand pulls into foot. Gaze can be forward, you might stay right here. Or lift your left leg, hello psoas on the left side. Lift your left arm, palm turns in. Try to get the arm in line with the ear, just like in dancers. Kick, 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 lift left leg, breathe. And let it go, crocodile. Elbows wide, palms stack, forehead down. How does your body feel? Notice the difference between the sides. All right, let's even ourselves out. So now, left knee bends, right arm reaches forward. I'm on my finger pads here. Reach for the left foot, the inside. Actually, I think I had the outside. I don't think it matters, but whatever feels better to you. Lift your shoulder up to the left ear, and then roll the head of the arm bone up so the scapula draws down firm on the back. Kick into your hand, hand pulls to foot, kick into hand. Gaze forward, right leg lifts, right arm lifts, turn the palm in toward the midline, and then everything is lifting up. Kick, 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 breathe. And release down, crocodile, shimmy hips side to side. So yogi's choice, either take a bound locust, interlacing fingers behind back and lifting legs, or full bow. Grab the outside of the feet. Lift armpits toward ears, roll head of arm bones away from your mat. Kick into your hands. Hands also pull to the feet, and you're lifting up through knees, through feet, through shoulders. Maybe rock a little bit and breathe. And slowly release down. Crocodile. Shimmy hips side to side. Slide hands underneath your shoulders and press on up to tabletop. Just stay here. Notice how your back feels. Let that settle. Walk your hands back toward your thighs and come up on your shins. We'll do a couple rounds of camel, which definitely get into the front of the hips. I always practice it with a block, so I'm going to continue that. So I'm going to take it on the narrow setting between my upper thighs. Then you'll think of it like a Pez container where you don't want the Pez candy to shoot forward. So squeeze inner thighs in and back to broaden the back of the pelvis, and then draw the tailbone down a touch. I keep my toes tucked because that's the only way I grab my heels right now. So choose where you want to be. Okay, lift armpits up to ears. Head to arm bones, draw back. Take your fingertips on the right side and then just pet your ribs down. Soften your front ribs down as you squeeze the block and start to shift back. Your left hand can grab for your left heel. Once that happens, maybe the right hand reaches for the right heel. Keep squeezing block. Press hips forward a little bit. Slide sides of throat back. And maybe drop the head back if you don't have any neck issues. Relax your jaw. Squeeze the block and come on back up. Remove your block if you have it. Untuck your toes, sit on your heels, rest your hands down. Receive the back bend. Come back to your intention. Let's do one more. Come on up, tuck toes if you like. You could also keep the toes untucked and use the front of the shins as a nice foundation. So block on narrow setting. Squeeze thighs to block. Pez out the back. Good. Tailbone down. Lift armpits up to ears. Head to arm bones, draw back. This time I'll take my left hand, just kind of pet the front ribs down as my right hand reaches for my right heel. Really drive down into the balls of your feet. Soften ribs down, soften ribs down. Perhaps grab the left heel. Draw scapula down your back. Slide the sides of your throat back. You take the gaze up. Take in breath where you can. One more inhale, squeeze block. Exhale, come on up. Gorgeous. Remove the block, untuck toes, and sit back on the heels. Okay, so thank yourself for making it this far. And now we get to really take some luscious stretching into the front of the hips. So come up onto your shins and take your fingers into your knee pits. And then you're gonna slide your fingers down your calf to kind of turn the calf muscles out a little bit. So slide the fingertips all the way down as you bring the booty down inside the heels. If you're super lifted here, take a block and put it under your bum. Okay, so we'll start with the left leg long. So you can take your left leg out in front of you. Flex the foot toward your body. And the knees are hips width distance apart. They're not touching. And then your hand on the right hand can lift the inner ankle up on the right foot. Hands to hips, lift booty, and press your pubic bone back. Now start to walk your hands back. This may feel like plenty, or you go a little bit further, maybe come down to your forearms. And then this may feel awesome as well. Keep your inner ankle lifted on the right foot, left heel drives down. And then you could be like, I'm ready for more.
And if that's the case, you come down to your back. I have this awesome blanket here that I'm just gonna prop up underneath my head. Now, if you get down and you're like, ooh, super crunchy, lift your hips a little bit and take your tailbone straight to the top of the mat. And then to really get into the front of the right hip, you're organically pressing your right knee down. Okay, now if you're some like crazy flexy yogi, I'm going to give you some options, which I cannot do, but you might be able to do. So you would bend the left knee, interlace the fingers around the shin, and pull the knee toward your chest. Keep pressing the right knee down. And if you want even more, you'll take yogi grip onto the big toe, take the knee toward the armpit, and then take the left leg out to the side. And you'll carve your left sits bone toward your tailbone, isolate that, and turn the toes of the left foot down for external rotation, all while taking your right knee down toward your mat. A few rounds of breath. Inhale, nose. Stick out your tongue, lion. Whatever variation you took, you'll come back to where you started. If you're all the way on your back, you can take your elbows down and then bring yourself up. Roll onto the left hip, take the right leg out long, and then bend the left knee. So the heel sits outside your left hip, and you can take your hand to your inner heel, hands outside of hips, lift sits bone, pubic bone back between your legs, drive down through your right heel. Respect the difference between the sides. Knees are not touching, they're at hips width distance. And then maybe take forearms down, maybe not. Keep pressing your left knee down. Maybe you can go further back. And then I feel that crunchiness or that compression in the low back. So I'm going to pick up my hips a little bit and then just shift the tailbone forward so it's not like flaring out like a peacock. Spin right inner thigh and left inner thigh down toward your mat. Breathe. Choose to stay with this as you have gentle pressure on your left knee down. This is my tighter side, so I won't be able to show much, but your option could be right foot down on your mat, right knee bends, and then you could draw the shape toward your chest and interlace your fingers around your knee or shin. And if you want more, you would take the arm inside the shin, take peace fingers with your big toe, and then open the leg to the right, carving right sits bone underneath toward your tailbone, and then turning the toes down for external rotation on your right leg as your left knee presses down. Sit and enjoy. Inhale, breath. Lion, stick out your tongue, let it roar. And then wherever you're at, elbows down, shift yourself back up.
Unhook your left leg, bend your knees, come down to your back. Draw your knees to your chest and take some circles, massage the low back. Good, happy baby pose. Grab a hold of the feet, knees wide, sits bones roll forward. Rock and roll a little side to side. Good. Now take your feet down to your mat. Grab 2 blocks if you have them. And we'll take an opening of our chest. And this will also just keep the front of the hips open as well. So you could have your block on the lowest setting. This is like a supported fish pose. So think about like mama bear, papa bear, or what is that? Like baby bear, mama bear, papa bear. So I'm going to do mama bear on the low back. This is going to go in between my scapula. You could also take it at the bottom tips of your scapula at a horizontal. And then the second block will go behind your head to support your head and your neck. I want this to feel more restorative and like you can stay here for a few minutes. Adjust your blocks as you need. I might have to come down the baby bear. You can keep your legs wide and rest the back of your head down. Take your arms out to the sides. If you want to continue with some hip openings, soles of feet together, knees wide. If this feels intense, feet down and knees straight up or into the midline. Or maybe you just want a Shavasana, so go for it. Give yourself the gift of stillness. Turn inside to your breath. Let your blocks fully support you. And stay here for a few more rounds of breath, or if you really want to come off the blocks, just roll off the blocks, move them out of the way, come to Shavasana or a seat, depending on what time of day for you. Otherwise, just stay right where you're at for a few more rounds of breath. Come back to the moment. Deepen your breath. If you're still on blocks, roll off to one side. If you're in Shavasana, roll off to one side or choose to stay as long as you can, depending on what time of day you're practicing. Press yourself up to a seat. Keep your eyes closed.
Rest your hands on in your lap or on your thighs, whatever kind of seat you're in. Tune inside to your breath. If your mind wanders, come back to your breath. Start with the cadence or end with the cadence of breath that we started with. So inhale for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 4. Maybe add a little pause between the inhale and exhale. Notice how you feel, no judgment. Practicing yoga is not about judging ourselves. It's a practice, and the most important part of the practice is that we show up, that we come to our mat, that we check in, see how our body's feeling. Notice the quality of our breath, but it's not about achieving a certain pose or looking like an Instagram photo. It's about not judging yourself and accepting yourself for who you are today, who you are in this moment, and knowing that that's enough. Hold your palms together in front of your heart. Come back to the intention that you started with, or maybe that came to you during your practice, or perhaps it comes to you right now, and you're going to take that off your mat. Inhale, breath. Exhale, breath. Namaste.